Now for the first little library project I had done, I put in a personalized greeting card for the person based off of what I knew about them. And I enjoyed that process so much that I decided that's what I would like to do with all of the little library projects that I send out. So the second little library project, I went to the person's Facebook page, and when I could find out about the person who manages their little library was that they were a cat lady. Now, I have not drawn any animals. The last time I drew an animal, painted an animal, or did anything like that was way back when I was 18, maybe 19, for a college class I was taking. So I was very nervous about making a greeting card with a cat. And to be honest, I think this turned out pretty decently. I used as a guide a picture I took of one of my cats way back when. I don't have cats anymore, but in this image doesn't look like my Hercules at all, anything like the same coloring or anything like that, but I was just using it, the picture of him, more as a guide so I could remember where the nose went, where the eyes went, and sort of what they looked like, but still make the painting on the greeting card fresh and loose. Now, the one thing I did learn from doing this greeting card was I thought I was going to save myself a little bit of work by making guidelines of what the 5x7 cutting marks would be, and I only painted within those areas. That was a big mistake. I have learned just do the whole page and then cut from there. I think what I was happy about also with this greeting card was this was the first time I was trying to be extremely loose with watercolor and have a real watercolory look on something that wasn't abstract and was of an actual living entity. So I was very happy with how this was starting to look and how this was starting to turn out, especially when I got to the eyes. I started feeling more comfortable and confident once I started getting the eyes put in. I'll need to also practice and work with using the watercolor pencils a little bit more. I'm interested in seeing how I can work with those on future paintings. And the one thing that I wasn't too sure about was the lines that were left behind with the watercolor pencil. So it worked with the actual painting, but I want to learn how to work with the watercolor pencils a lot better than I am working with them right now. Going back to what I was saying about putting in the guidelines, I also learned from this that I stopped the painting right at what I believed would be the fold, and I've kind of learned that go over the fold just a little bit so that when you actually make the fold, it's not as difficult for the cutting purposes with it. I like making individualized envelopes too. I think that's really fun for the person to receive in the mail. And since I have not drawn cats really before, and I wasn't too sure what I wanted to do, I simply looked online in the free Adobe stock vector images, the free images on the vector, and looked at various cat images and kind of combined a few of the vector images in my mind and adjusted to what I wanted the actual image to look like. So I just penciled it out and then penciled the cats out and inked in from there, making sure to make the cats uniquely my own. Now here I am making sure everything is lined up with the bricks or the stones for when the envelope is actually folded. I think this little guy is so cute, just peeking out from the bottom of the envelope. Now, obviously, this envelope was going to go into the package for the little library, so I was able to do the front of the envelope without having to worry about any address or post office. It was going into the box. I soon found out when I started working on the background here that I definitely like my blues, because my Ohuhu marker, a couple of these blues that I'm using were starting to dry out. So I've ordered some new markers, and there's going to be other blues in there. And when I have enough markers that are dried out, then I'll order them individually and or the refills for the ones that do have refills. With the Ohuhu markers, I think they only have 50 markers that they have refills for. Otherwise, you need to buy each of the markers individually if you're replacing them. I am not being paid or sponsored by Ohuhu by any means. And that's okay, because as I said in a previous video, I'm not interested in working for my own business or working for somebody else for marketing or anything like that. So I will tell you what I like and what I don't like, and my videos are never sponsored by anyone at this point. And even if a company did approach me for marketing their products, I would probably say no unless they wanted to gift that to me without any conditions, because I don't want any conditions. Here I've made the artistic decision, realizing that other blue was about to run out, that I was just going to change up the blue and blend it in with each other. And I think that decision worked out well. Now, I also sent some bookmarks to my friend in Colorado because when she lived here, she was actually my next door neighbor. When she lived here, she had started our little library, and she asked if she could have some of the bookmarks. And I said, absolutely, not a problem. And so I saw her post on Facebook that she had put up new flower pot hangers on her fence. And I thought, well, this was perfect. So I decided to make a larger envelope to hold the bookmarks, because I was only sending her a handful of bookmarks, not something that needed a full box. So I made the envelope larger to be able to contain the bookmarks and a handful of affirmation cards with the floral theme to it. Don't worry, somewhere down the road you will also see other forms of art from me, not just the bookmarks, affirmation cards, greeting cards, and envelopes. I do plan on exploring watercolor further as full paintings. I have several ideas planned for some acrylic paintings and oil paintings. I need to finish the one painting that I stopped in 2008 from my Emotions series. That painting is called Joy, and I plan on finishing that also. So you'll be seeing that. As I said, I have months, years down the road that I hope you'll stay with me and watch my creative journey and growth. And I hope to be able to also watch you, if you're also an artist, to be able to watch your growth and your YouTube channels. Now, I wasn't happy with how the alcohol drops that I made worked out, so I just came in here and did some spiral markings. I also just purchased 74 new jelly roll pens that were on sale through Dick Book, so I'm looking forward to using those also and expanding my color range with the gel pens. So as I said, the envelope for this is larger since I'm going to be adding the bookmarks into this envelope. And I decided to keep the theme going with the flower that I had done on the greeting card and do something similar, very similar, on the envelope. I had to be very careful with the front of the envelope because it was going to go through the mail, and so there definitely needed to be enough space for the return address and my friend's address. And I was actually surprised they didn't have any issues with the post office. They didn't mind delivering it, and it was delivered on time, etc. So I was a little concerned with such a colorful envelope, how it would go through the mail. One thing I keep having to do, as you see me opening and closing the envelope, is what is it? I wanted to make sure that there wasn't any blank spaces when the envelope was actually opened, so that it looked as though the flower and on the last envelope, that the image when it's closed looks almost the same when it's open. Okay, so here is the front of the greeting cards and the envelopes, and here is the back of the envelopes. I hope you enjoyed this and were inspired by it. If you are an artist and want to create something like this, I hope you are inspired by this. And until we meet again, have a wonderful day.